your class of produce, you must maintain a high standard of hygiene. It's actually called, scientifically, it's called good hygiene practice. The NXP form, NEPC form, letter of no objection, COPP, and all that. Yes, I think I've dealt with all this. So if we may not exhaust the entire content of export, but as far as NAFDAC is concerned, export is not really a long process. It's as swift as possible. Once everything is in place, and the product is also in place. But it takes two to tango, and the responsibility on your own side is to ensure that you comply. Whatever your produce is in compliance with what the destination country, the standards are over there. You must keep to their standards, or else you have wasted your time and the product is returned back to you at your own expense. And most of the time, when products are rejected and sent back to Nigeria, NAFDAC takes over the products, and most often than not, it ends up as destruction. And you might even end up paying for that destruction. So it becomes a big loss on all fronts. In conclusion, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and CropLife has this to say: investments in agriculture are the best weapons against hunger and poverty, and they have made life better for billions of people. Ladies and Amazons, entrepreneurs in the house, we cannot overemphasize the role that that your team, your organization is playing in exports and revenue generation for the country. So we'll do anything to ensure and to accelerate your operations, to ensure that you are able to deliver very well and also help the country out. Because what you're doing also is, like I said, is part of nation building, and you're also giving employment and job creation to our people. So fantastic job that you ladies are doing, and we'll always be there to give you all the support as is needed. So I think I will just anchor it at this point. Madam President, permit me to anchor it while
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, I think I will just anchor it here, and then maybe we'll take it off there. Many thanks, man.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, DJ. I think at this point we will take questions, and I am sure a lot of people have a lot of questions in their hearts. NAFDAC for some people is a mystery, and NAFDAC for some people looks like it is all the challenges they have in their processing or in their ability to meet their markets. So I'm sure there will be a lot of questions. I have some questions I have written down. For now, I will open it to the floor. Please, if you have a question, you have two options. You can write it down on the chat, or you can just raise your hand and we will call you. And please, when you are asking your question, let it be straight to the point. Okay, so let's do that now. Either you raise your hand or you chat your question in the chat group, right? So for me, sir, thank you again for this beautiful session. I will try and make my question progressive. I am a baby and I'm learning seriously about all the requirements in Nigeria from manufacturing and production in agriculture space all the way to export, right? And you talked about the certification that is on registration that is required for export. Now, what type of factories are we talking about? We're looking at the MSMEs and the SMEs going into export. What sizes of factories are expected? Are we expected to have, so that we can invite NAFDAC for inspection to make sure that it is what it should be, as safe as possible, to meet our markets? What sizes? Is it by the size, or what are we expected to do or equip the place with?
Yeah, great question, if I must say. The agency has been very responsive and responsible to the market, the SME market. And in the last, I think 3 or 4 years ago, because of the volume and the demands for this particular market, the agency actually created a standalone directorate. It's called the Lagos State Office, where that is strictly for SMEs. And what we have done also further is, apart from the SMEs, give chance to even the minutest of business to also thrive. And so what we do is we have different categories. We have the small, like you said, we have the medium and the enterprise. That's the MS, medium, small enterprises. But we now went further to give room and give opportunity to even the startups by also recognizing cottage industry. So cottage industry is just like me, myself, and maybe one employee, just in one room, doing chin-chin, doing all those small scale kind of food. So we call them cottage industry. And from cottage industry, cottage industry must not have more than 3 staff. Then small scale is from 5. If you have 5 to 10 employees, that's small scale. The medium scale is when you have from 10 employees to 20, 30, like that. And that's how we graduate it until you have the large scale, which is the apex of it, are all the giant industries. So we have actually classified it in a way that everyone can be part of the business. So that's the way. And what we now do is for those ones who that we call the cottage industry, majorly what we focus on is what is called the GHP. We just ensure that they have good hygiene practices. For example, if you are producing maybe in a small store in your house, you must ensure that the place maintains the standards of hygiene. That must be it must be sort of contained and enclosed in such a way that it will be devoid of cross-contaminations. There must not be activities around that place. It must be well protected from vectors, rodents, and all that. So at least ensure that there's minimum hygiene practice in that place. But when you now come to a real factory, like a small scale that you are doing real production, then what we carry out is good manufacturing practice. And that is much broader because we now expect you to have good documentation, expect you to have an isolated place, maybe a production room, a cloak room, like 2, 3, 4 rooms like that are marked finished product room, raw material room, like that. And that's how we graduate it. So good manufacturing practice will start from the SMEs, small scale, small and medium enterprises up to the large scale. But for the cottage industry, it's just a good hygiene practice. Yes, madam.
Thank you so much for that clarification. And some of us now are saying, really, right? Okay. Because I mean, what we were told sounded like for every chin-chin you have to fry, NAFDAC needs to come and certify that your chin-chin has the correct oil, that kind of thing. So thank you so much for that. Let me see if I have a question. Do I have a question in the chat group? Yeah. Okay, one question in the chat group says, please, what is the main reason why products are to be exported have to be registered with NAFDAC? Someone said, what's the main purpose? Yes, sir.
Okay, of course, most products that are to be exported will not be accepted if it's not registered by the national authority. They would like to see some, because our certificate, or at least our number, it gives some sort of comfort to most of those countries where the products are being exported to. They will, just like the way you walk into a store, you want to buy something, you like to see your NAFDAC number on it. You will not be comfortable buying buying any product and you can't find NAFDAC number on it. It gives an impression that the product may be fake or something. So that's the way over there. They would like to see some sort of certifications especially from the National Regulatory Authority. Well, we do it as well in this place. You can't import. We want to import anything. One of the documents is that you must present the marketing authorization. That's what we call it, from the importing country. Importing anything to Nigeria from UK, you must show us marketing authorization. If it's from America, you must present marketing authorization from US FDA in America. If you're reporting from Ghana, that has to be from Ghana FDA. We like to see that some level of quality assessment has been done from the importing country. So it's vice versa also. When it's going out, it gives them some comfort to see that, yes, NAFDAC has given some sort of approval for the product. So it's a common practice in international trade and everywhere in the world that the country, the imported good must present some sort of certification from the regulatory authorities. It's a common practice.
Okay, thank you, sir. From the presentation so far, it looks really easy to work with NAFDAC. But the story that we have is, like I said earlier on, has been very threatening to some of us that are learning. Okay, so now I want to export stuff. I want to start up a production center. In fact, I have started up, I and my colleague, we have a small room where we are processing our vegetables, packaging, making it look nice, and all of those. At that point, do we now invite a NAFDAC official to come and certify that our one room where we, okay?
Okay, yeah, because the thing is, the market definitely will not accept your product if you don't have some form of certification. It's not just even that. Most people will decline buying your goods if they don't see some sort of NAFDAC approval, NAFDAC number on it. So it becomes very imperative that you must have something from NAFDAC. But what we try to do, like your one room, we have simplified the process. The requirements are not very tedious. We tried, for example, we had that kind of your business cottage. We will not ask you to bring a trademark. Trademark becomes optional for a business for small scale and cottage. But if you are going into real manufacturing, food production, you must have your trademark from the Ministry of Trade and Investment. So we have sort of, downsized the level of requirements for that particular, for the 1 room, 2 rooms, and startups. So it's easy for anybody to approach NAFDAC. The guidelines, I can also oblige the guidelines to Madam President or one of the small scale, the cottage industry, the small scale later. That one is different because my presentation is just on exports, how to export. The other presentation is a real certification per se, which also involves your circulation of the product within the Nigerian market.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, I saw that your presentation was focused on export. However, we want to, for us to be able to do that, like I said, the women community that are going into exports are really from the MMSMEs and to the SMEs. Some of us, yes, have been doing some of the container loads and all those, but majority are coming from the MSMEs, up there. And we also want to ensure that even though they are coming from the MSMEs, they are doing it right. However, thank you for telling us about the cottage certification type, which is quite basic, and I think that's good. But then we have the situation of timelines. I have a lot of my colleagues that have said, my product has been with NAFDAC for 2 years, 1 year, 8 months. In fact, some of them have forgotten that they ever wrote to NAFDAC at any time, and they have just forgotten. In fact, most of us currently feels that if you want to export, if you follow NAFDAC, your product will never leave the shores of Nigeria. Just continue your job. What do you say to such people? Those timelines, what are the timelines? What do you say to us?
Yes, those are myths and misconceptions about NAFDAC. Probably maybe that used to happen in the past, but the present NAFDAC that we have, I like to say that one, every process in NAFDAC has now been digitized. In the last year, everything is digitized. We have a platform where all our registration, we no longer carry out manual. Maybe those were the days of manual application. So, but now every process, so the list, or even the cottage, you have to apply online. We have a platform called NAPAMS, NAFDAC automated database, where you must upload your documents, and on that platform, it's visible for everybody. Even you as the applicant, you are allowed to track your applications. You know where your application is, if it's at documentation, if it's at inspection, if it's at lab, you can track it the days as it's moving. You are seeing it even on your phone, you can access it on your phone. So, but where downtimes are usually caused where there are compliance directives. There's something we call compliance directive. When you are not meeting the standards, they will issue you compliance directive. And when compliance directive is issued, that means the process, the clock stops. That's the way we put it here. When you are issued a compliance directive, the clock stops. That means the process comes to a halt until you go and make up that respond to that compliance directive. Now, where the problem comes is that most applicants they dilly-dally in the response to the compliance directive, and that's where the problem comes. We have some applications, some 2 months, 3 months before they respond. In fact, as a matter of fact, what we are saying now is that any compliance directive that has gone beyond 6 months and the applicant does not respond, does not make any move, that such application should be archived. Archive now means the applicant loses both. When he comes back, he will lose all the money he has paid, and then he will now have to go and start all over again. 6 months. You know why you are supposed to respond to your compliance directive within a day, 2 or 3 weeks. Compliance directive can come in the area of documentation. Documentation, that means your documents are not complete. If you don't have the right documents, like your standard of SOPs are not properly done. If you don't have like certificate of fumigation, you need to have medical certificate of fitness for you as the entrepreneur. And if you have any staff, you must have some medical certificate that's not less than 1 year or 6 months minimum, the maximum that you did it last. There must be constant check on you to make sure that you are even carrying out the process. You are fit. You're not contaminating the product. If you have, you are coughing and all that, and you're not in good health, that you cannot even become a risk or a danger to the product. So such documents are in a case where the applicant does not have a medical certificate of fitness, or maybe one of two, like your production manager now does not have a medical certificate of fitness. So what we do at that point is to issue compliance directive. So compliance directive means the process stops until you send your production manager to a recognized hospital and he gets cleared and brings medical certificate of fitness. And the process will respond to us, write to us that you're attaching what you have asked for, and then the process continues. So at documentation, that will be CD, at GMP, the real inspection, that inspection that could also be compliance directive. For example, some of these, your own line of business, if you are using water, you can't use public means kind of water to treat your products. There should be some level of treatment for the water you are using. We'll check if you have at least the minimum treatment for your water, because your water we are doing chin now. You will need to use some level of water or something. You can't just go and fetch water from a public place, water that you're not sure of the source. That would nullify whatever process. You must have a separate treatment for your water. So those kind of things. Then, of course, if the product fails in the lab, when we come for inspection, we'll take samples of your product, and then we take to the lab. If your product fails, if it's not satisfactory in the lab, then the process comes to a halt. We give you a compliance directive for you to go and correct all those CDs.
Okay, thank you. I can see, Tosin, your hand is up. Your hand is up. Please take the floor, Tosin. You can unmute yourself.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much for the very educative information. What I quickly just want to ask regarding the registration and link. At the point of registration, I understand that there's a link that is meant to be done to FIRS. Can you please clarify that? Thank you.
You mean for FIRS? No, what we need from FIRS is your TIN number and password. We require you to get your TIN number and password from and from FRS. That's the only thing we need you to have, and that can only be given to you by FRS, because without your password, you cannot log on to the single window, the trade portal, the international trade portal, the single window, www.trade.gov.ag. And that's where you can actually, on that portal, that's where you have all the agencies. Custom is there, FRS is there, NAFDAC is there, SUN is there, and all that. So you must be able to log on to that particular portal. It's international portal. But for you to log on, it's your unique identifier is your TIN number. So that's the only connection we have with it. We will require you to go to FRS, process your TIN number, make it up to date, get your password for you to be able to log on to the trade portal.
So that means automatically that everyone that wants to go into, that wants to have access to NAFDAC platform must be limited liability registered. Tosin, is that what that means? Is Tosin still there?
Yes, I am. No, it doesn't mean they have to be limited liability registered. It means they must be fully registered in CAC, either business name, enterprise, or limited liability.
And they must have their TIN number verified.
That's the important thing. Everybody, whether you're the important message for me is that they must be registered with the tax.
If you have your TIN number, it means you're not paying your tax. And then you're shortchanging the country, no matter how little your business is.
But I'm not supposed to pay tax as an MSME, right? As an MSME that is doing below 25, is it 25 million turnaround? Are they expected to pay taxes?
Well, I can't really answer that, but I know that you must at least have your password. I mean, you must have a TIN number. As a business, you must have a TIN number.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I think we will take more of that session. We will take that question later. I wrote down another question. I noticed in your presentation something about the NXP form. Now, when we were told about this NXP form, yes, it was that it's something to do with inflow of funds. So once you want to export, you anything beyond $5,000, you have to register with a bank, such that when the inflow comes, it goes into that account. But then the bottleneck is that when the inflow goes into that account, you are not allowed to withdraw from that account. Given the current administration that we have, does that still hold? Because now we have dollars, I can actually catch my dollar over the counter with no extra protocol, no extra charges. You know, I don't know if that still holds or if that's still important.
I think we are reviewing it, but definitely NSP is one of our requirements. NSP form is one of our requirements. But with the emergence and all this new trend of this thing, if it requires us to review it, if it's no longer necessary, of course, Emily will take it off our guidelines.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, because that was very scary to a lot. Knowing that you go through a lot to get dollars for your startup, your cottage market or your cottage business, and then you are blessed to have a client that wants to do up to $10,000 worth with you, then you face the bottleneck of when the inflow comes, you cannot use it. You have to now go through another bottleneck of operations with a bank to look for someone or somewhere or how to pay. I mean, it loses all the encouragement to go into export. I believe that this administration will look into that for us.
Sure. Because there's also something we call the ease of doing business. And the ease of doing business, you must take care of all those bottlenecks and all those encumbrances that may come in the international trade.
Thank you, sir. So I see someone responded saying, Mr. Sani, or this Mr. Sani responded saying, any business that has a turnover of 25 million below is exempted from the paying of tax. Okay, but you still have to get the TIN number. Okay, that's fine. I hope it will also be easy to get the TIN number. Again, we're looking at how to make these things easy for our MSMEs and SMEs to do their export, ensuring that we dot all our I's and cross all our T's in Nigeria so that our product out there, we know that when it's leaving the shore, what we are more concerned about now is our international certification and all the likes. Okay, thank you. Someone else says, yes, but not company tax. I think 25% is for the limited liability. There are other taxes though. Oh my God. Let's not make this an FRS session. This is a NAFDAC session. I have Chinasa, your hand is up. Please take the floor, Chinasa.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My question, I earlier dropped it, but I don't know. I've been in transit. My question is, what is the exact reason why products that are to be exported from Nigeria, once they are edible or cosmetic products, why is it that they have to be registered with NAFDAC? Then the other part of it is a contribution. Yeah, businesses that are doing turnover less than 25 million naira turnover, yes, they're not paying tax, but they have to do their filing. And without going to get the TIN number, you can't file. Even though you're not paying tax, but you do the filing. Do you understand? So that's my contribution in that. Then the first one is the question. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Chinasa. I think I've responded to that. Most countries will always want the origin country to give some sort of certification to any product that is leaving that country. It's an international practice in trade that you like to see some quality certifications or assessments of a product that is especially from the country of origin. For example, if you are certificate of free sale, certificate of free sale means it means the product is being sold and is freely and can be freely sold anywhere in the world. If you say that means the product is sold from the country of origin and can be freely sold in any part of the world. If a product is leaving the country and doesn't have a certificate of free sale, that means the product is not being used in the country. And that's for regulatory, can raise some flags. Is it a product that you're coming to dump in our country that is not good enough for you? Country to use, and you're not coming to dump it on us. So that's why we ask for it during importation. You must present your certificate. If you're importing any product, you must present certificate of free sale, which means that particular product is being used in that country, or else it means you are just coming to dump it.
Okay, that makes sense. That really makes sense. Thank you so much, sir. I have a very interesting question on the chat. It says it's not a question, it's just a comment to state some realities, like people would call it. It says, please, the product submission for analysis for NAFDAC certification is too much. We have to submit 12 samples for each product or each product package. For some SMEs, the cost of this can be more than the cost of trading capital.
12. No, I don't think it's up to. We have reviewed our sampling guide, which also include export products. So I'm not sure where we were asking for. Maybe it's the old guide you're using, or maybe if somebody is submitting on your behalf, we really don't take such large quantities of sample again. Even for imported products, again, we don't ask for. We just ask for the minimum that is required for analysis. We don't ask for anything beyond that. So 12 per variant, per sample, I think it's rather, I'm not sure if that is being submitted to NAFDAC now, because we have reviewed our guidelines, our sampling guidelines, and we have brought drastically low the number of samples that is required for submission.
Okay. I think we would need to have that link so that we can share to our women, and a lot of us can go and look into that, the new link, the new portal for NAFDAC, and see the ease of how easy it is to use it, and we can also revert on that and give feedback. I can see Dr. Kachi, your hand is up. Please take the floor, Dr. Kachi. Dr. Kachi, are you there? Can you unmute yourself, please? Dr. Kachi seemed not to be able to unmute.
It's not, can't mute himself.
Okay. Dr. Kachi is not able to unmute. Okay, so let me take my next question. So I heard you earlier on talk about the letter of non-objection, which in your explanation, if I get you correctly, it was addressing those of us that were not the original producers of the product. For instance, want to do a sea freight load of gari, palm oil, shea butters, those heavy duty products. We are not the villagers, but we have a community of villagers that produce these things for us. What is the letter of non?
No. That does not apply to. It's majorly for finished products.
Okay.
Finished products. What letter of no objection is for registered products from where you're not the market authorization holder. For example, now if I want to export a blue band, I want to have. I've gone to a country like maybe I have Ivory Coast, and I have market for blue band margarine. You know blue band margarine. Blue band margarine is a product of I think Unilever PLC. Or I have a market for Milo. I have a Milo. Maybe I live in Ivory Coast and I have a market for Milo or for Bonvita or something in Milo. I am not the market author. I'm not the producer of Milo. Milo is produced by Nestle.
Yes.
Nestle PLC. So I will have to approach. I can't just buy Nestle products and take it, ship it out like that. They must give me. I must approach them that I have this. I'm buying so stock from you, but I'm not selling in Nigeria. I'm taking it to ECOWAS.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So they will not give me a letter of no objection that yes, they have allowed you to export their products on their behalf.
Okay.
It's not necessarily for your own, not for produce really.
Okay, I think that's very clear because some of our women also take palm oil. Like we take okumu, is it okumu or akumu palm oil? And
yes. Is it if it's registered by somebody and you're taking it on behalf of that person, you must have letter. As long as it's not, because you are not the market authorization holder. So the person that has produced it, the person who has the license must recognize you that yes, I'm allowing you to export so quantity of this product on my behalf. And so it gives you a letter of no objection. It's also a sort of a patent right and also to copyright sort of to protect that particular company from fakers.
Yeah.
Fakers and adulteration.
Okay. I think
so
that
if you're exporting that without that means maybe you have gone somewhere to imitate, to fake that product and you're carrying it without the knowledge of this simply because it's a popular brand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Dr. Kachi, you can now unmute. Can you hear my voice? Can you speak now, Dr. Kachi? Hello, Dr. Kachi, are you there? Can you speak now? Okay, you still are not able to speak. I'm sorry, that's an internet issue. Okay, I have Stella. Stella, your hand is up. Please take the floor quickly so we can try to start wrapping up.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Stella.
I want to ask if I want to, I'm into plantain chips, chin-chin, and catfish. So I want to start on plantain chips. What do I really need for NAFDAC approval in plantain chips, chin-chin? Then second question is exporting. Yes. Second question is exporting catfish, dry catfish. What do I need? Must it be only electric dry before I can take it, or good dry with wood? Thank you.
Let me start from the second one. We will rather that you export dry, because when you export, you don't export it dry. It has a tendency of develop of spoilage. with time, because moisture is something that easily spoils food produce. So the drier the export is, and most countries will not even take products that are wet because their tendency for spoilage is much. But when the product is dry, when you have actually dried it, the moisture is sieved out and it can last for long. So that's that. Then your
so
number,
what do I?
yes, go on. I can hear you. Hello? I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, I think internet has done
okay,
it.
Let me take another question. The first one on Chin Chin. Chin Chin is under cottage and it's in LSO. LSO is Lagos State Office, or Lagos State Office. The directorate that is responsible for MSMEs in Lagos is in Oshodi. Like I said, the process is very simple for Chin Chin, and all you just need to do is make sure you are producing it under a very hygienic condition, and there's no room for contaminants and all that. So we just come check that, check your packaging material, check how your goods, check your raw materials, and ensure that all those are in place. The minimal level of regulation is what we apply to Chin Chin, because Chin Chin is seen as a cottage industry.
Thank you, sir. I have one interesting question online on the chat. It says, why do we need to do individual registration for different sizes of a particular product? So that tells me that if I have different sizes, like 3 different sizes, I still have to register each of them as an individual product.
No. When you have different sizes of the same product, that's what we call pack size extension. Yeah, so we really don't need to register the 3. But what we do, it must be, you just must document it. Just document it. That yes, we'll charge you for one, which is the principal product, and then you document for the others. For example, a good example is okay. Let me still go back to Blue Band Mandarin. Blue Band Mandarin, again, you have the very small, the affordable size by students, which is I think about maybe less than 1 kg. You have the smaller, the medium one, then you have the big. All those are pack size extensions. So you just register one, and then you document, the pack size extensions they have. So really don't register pack size extension. What she's trying to say is a variance. Yes, when you have variants, you must register variants, but not pack size extension. We don't register. You just register for one, and if you have even 5 extensions, that one covers 5. But just document, let us know all the extensions. But for variants, you must register it. Variants are, for example, if you have Coca-Cola lemon, Coca-Cola pineapple, and all that, all those you must register them separate. Those are called variants.
Okay. Then I think that is clear. Then there is another question that says, what is the requirement for packaged food products like Gary? I think you mentioned something earlier when I was using that as an example. Yam flour, urea, palm oil. What are the requirements for NAFDAC registration, being that there is no processing, repackaging? So I go to the village, I take my offtake Gary in bigger 100 kg bags, and I come to my small repackaging center in Lagos, and I begin to repackage them. So 5 kg, 2 kgs, you know, is there a requirement for that? I think that's what she's asking.
Yes, that's what I've said again, that what we'll carry out on that is good hygiene practice, GHP. There is good hygiene practice, which is the minimum inspection. Then the bigger inspection is what we call good manufacturing practice. That one, that you are running a real production process with good manufacturing. We'll check. Now, but good hygiene practice for this kind of, for example, Gary that you're giving, will ensure that the environment we check for the environment where you are producing. For example, you can't be producing near a public toilet, near a toilet where you have or people are urinating or something. we check for the hygiene around the area. We check your packaging material. Also, your packaging material must be such that it's inert. Maybe if you're using nylon, LDPE, or whatever, must be such that it will not, must be of food grade quality that will not now come and contaminate the food. Must not contaminate the food, must not react with the food. So check your packaging. And if you have a label, of course, we expect you to have label also. Every product must be labeled. You can't sell a product that is not labeled, because it's from the label that will see the name of the product. I will see the brand name of the product. For example, Madam Hussein Gari, you have a label, you must have a label, you must have a label on the Gari that says this, whatever, if it's your name, or you give it a brand name that identifies your own Gari from any other Gari in this room.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dr. Kachi, can you speak now?
Okay, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead,
Hello?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. My problem or question is with respect to product. Let's assume, for example, I want to package Gari. My expectation from NAFDAC is, after inspecting my factory and the quality of my production, they should allow me to do packaging 1 kg, 2 kg, 3 kg at will. But it appears each time I want to, if I register for 1 kg, if I want to do for 2 kg, I have to pay again. If I want to do 3 kg, I want to pay again. If really we want to encourage this thing, the bulk line process should be inspected. And if the system is okay, we should be given leverage to do that, to do as package as much, multiple packaging. I don't know what NAFDAC can do to help us in that regard. That is just my thank you.
Yeah, this question is a recurring question that comes often. What we're doing at a point is we just allow you pay for the principal product. You pay the main registration fee, and then I think just about 20% of that for those pack size extension. So what you are really paying for the pack size extension is not, you are not paying the same amount. If you have 5 different extension, you can't pay the same amount. If you just pay for one is same as the principal pack, then maybe just, I think, 20% or 10% for the other ones. It's just for us to document it. They are not paying the same amount. So I think that.
Okay.
Yes.
So carry out an advocacy here, sir. Please,
Yes.
let's, on behalf of the women community, we will kindly plead. Women, we are women, no. We have to do what we can to make ends meet in this matter, and we are determined to make these things right. Once we start one, and the content has been certified and analyzed, and it's okay, and the packaging, the center where it is being produced is okay, sir. Can we please plead for the women community that will be allowed as WETI, members of the Women in Export Trade and Investment, to just package that 10% can be something that we can go daily and use for something else in our business. Production cost is very high. So if we can plead, I know that it's not a decision you can make right here for us, but we will plead that you please look at it.
Yes, look at it.
This is we don't pack in the long term. That house.
Yes,
we know you will look at it for us, sir.
yes, I will.
Thank you. I have Chinasa again. Chinasa, please take the floor quickly.
Oh, sorry, I forgot that my hand is still up. What I wanted to ask, I wanted to talk about this same pack size extensions. Because, for instance, for my honey, I have 3 pack sizes, but planning to export it now, they are registered. I registered with NAFDAC, but trying to export now, I'm introducing another pack size, which is 350 mil, and I know that I'm going to pay. Do you understand? So I wanted to talk about it, but our president have summarized it. It's an advocacy that they should look into it, because it's discouraging. I know a lot of, I've met a lot of people that are talking about that, complaining that they have checked this product and they have okayed it. But each time you bring in a new pack size, they will tell you to pay. So that was what I just wanted to talk about still, but it has been taken care of. And for SAR to have accepted to be part of this meeting to educate us and to help us move forward. Definitely taking him as one of those that want to change the narrative. Thank you, sir.
So much. Oga has agreed and we will follow up at the back end after this meeting. By the grace of God, I'm sure we would have that cleared up. Thank you. Mrs. Elizabeth, my sister, please go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for coming online to speak with us, to encourage us. Still on the same topic, please help us to talk to our people in the office that we need each other. They need us just as we need you. We need each other. Without the SMEs and the people that are producing, there's no work for NAFDAC staff. Let's take it from that point so that we know we need each other. Two, what everybody has said is the truth. And it's not only that we are going to pay, we are also asked to bring sample for those pack sizes that are different from the one that has maybe stage 1. And this same product are produced from the same place, same source. I think you should help us to eradicate this story. This should be the end of it. We've been on this thing for years now, saying it. Before it was 3 samples per product. Then every pack size, 3 samples. So those of us that are doing 10 kg, 25 kg, you bring 3 bags of those. Just look at it. Wow. What do we need it for? I've said this in 2016, 2017, that it's not good. It's not acceptable. I will use the same word that I used in the past. This is like stealing from us. What do they need it for?
Mrs. Elizabeth, thank you so much.
No, it's to emphasize it so that it is not as if somebody, one person saying it may look as if maybe it's just one occasion, but now you hear it from different angles coming up. Please help us to put it aside. 2, when we are doing export and we have samples to run with you, I would advise that you commission a private laboratory that you trust, that will do it fast. There is no way a consignment that needs to leave within 1 month will go to NAFDAC and be there for 3 months. It will not work. Let's take it on a practical line so that we can let you know what we have been passing through quietly. But if you can help us to work on it, take it back to the office and say, let's have a meeting. Madam can organize few of us. We sit with you. We look at it one by one. These things are not supposed to be.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. The points made. And Oga is smiling very broadly. You know, Oga
passion says it all. I say a passion says it all. But I think for the exports, our labs are, like I said, we are giving exports, we give them priority attention. So most of the time, I don't know, it's not right to say that for export, maybe for registration is 90 days. 90 days, 3 months. Maybe that's what you're referring. But for export is 48 hours in the lab. Must not go beyond for laboratory analysis. No export process must stay beyond 3 or 4 days within NAFDAC. All things being equal,
Okay, and the lab is accessible. Is in Lagos or in Abuja?
Absolutely, in Oshodi, yeah.
Okay, in Oshodi. Okay, thank you. Dr. Kachi, your hand is up again.
Okay, thank you very much. Concerning the issue of lab tests, honestly, it's a very big problem. Let me support the last speaker. If there's a way NAFDAC could make available labs, so even this registration of 90 days, I think is too much. 90 days is too much. What is it that we are testing? We have all the equipment and what have you. We are thinking of moving from. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, sir. Hello, sir. Sorry. It's not 90 days in the lab, the entire registration process from the day you submit.
Okay, sorry, sir. Like in my own case, I'm calling from Adamawa State, Mubi in particular. I have been battling with this issue for more than almost 1 year now. Do you understand? Let's do it in such a way that we encourage each other, like she rightly said, right?
Okay.
Internet. Oh, okay.
Of doing. Hello?
Go ahead, Dr. Kachi.
Hello. Okay, like in this part of the world, I want to work, I'm a food scientist. I want to work on tiger nut. right? And what I want to do with respect to this tiger nut is to
internet.
Technical glitch.
Yes.
package it and maybe the way it is, right? Just to make sure that this thing is available everywhere, right? And I have made 50-gram package. I want to go for 100 grams, maybe 200 grams. The registration for this type of product should be given accelerated approval, because it is only tiger nut from the farm to my factory. In my factory, I will draw procedure for cleaning, sorting, and it's raw tiger nut. I'm not adding any chemical to it, right? This type of product should be given accelerated registration. That is my answer. If we can have that, I think we'll be talking about new Nigeria with respect to export and even consumption within the country. Thank you.
Registration.
Thank you. I'm sure Oga has noted this particular issue of the extensions and the different sizes. Oga has really noted it.
Yes, sir.
Adeleke, your hand is up. Adeola, please go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for the opportunity and the privilege. Yeah, I think sometimes before COVID, I gave them 3 products at NAFDAC. 2 were approved. And the 3rd one, till date, they didn't tell me the reason why it is not approved.
Okay.
Till date, I'm speaking, and I've written concerning it, and no response.
Okay. Okay, it has not been approved. I'm sure, like what I said, there must be a compliance directive somewhere. It must be that maybe your documentation. There are 3 areas where compliance directive can come in: documentation, inspection, and laboratory analysis. So there's a problem somewhere. I'm sure you have a compliance directive. Were you issued a compliance directive?
No, sir, they didn't give me anything to tell me that this is the reason why this thing.
And you're in Lagos. You're in Lagos, yeah?
In Abeokuta.
Okay. Yeah, Abeokuta office. I'm sure there must be maybe a compliance directive somewhere, because once that happens, that means. But the only thing is that you should have been communicated.
Yes, no.
Really a long time.
On the same day for the 3 products.
What I would ask, Adeola,
on the yes, please.
What I would ask, because like you said, COVID, right? So we're looking at 3 years before now. And can you hear me, madam?
I can hear you. I can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, so we're looking at 3 years before now. I would like you to write officially to us. If you remember Wetty, I think you remember Wetty. Let's see how we can help you resolve it. Is that fine?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tell her up again. Do you want to take the topic?
When Oga was answering my question, network was breaking concerning my plantain chips. They will tell me I have to make a whole 5 rooms to have approval. Oh, please, I want clarification.
No, I've said that your plantain chip comes under cottage. We used to do that about 10 years ago. We had the same. Somebody is.
I need you to listen so that please minimize the noise on your background so you can hear what. Thank you, Stella.
Yes. So I think what I would say is we noted all those kind of people that have, plantain chips, Zobo drinks and all that, and we created a directorate for them specially, which is the one I've mentioned. That directorate is for MSMEs, and you don't need to have 5 rooms. 5 rooms was like 15 years ago when we had the same standard for everybody. But as time went by, because of the increase in micro and this thing, we now have to review and bring down the standard a bit so that it can accommodate this. And that's why we even have, like I said, cottage industry. cottages you can even produce inside your living, inside your own house. You don't need to go and those days we ask you to go and get an apartment, isolated apartment. If you don't have 4 or 5 rooms isolated, you can't come to NAFDAC. So because of that, we have dismantled all those requirements, and it's now free for everyone to.
Thank you so much, sir. Sorry, I'd like to throw in this question. I'm surprised nobody is talking about the price of registration with NAFDAC. As far as I'm concerned,
that is what I want to ask now.
Yeah.
I have issue with that.
Okay, Doctor, go ahead. By the way, Doctor is a spouse to one of our members, so he's speaking on behalf of. Doctor, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much once again for this opportunity. I would like to first and foremost ask a simple question. How long does it take after payment? Like now I have paid for my product. It's almost 6 months now. How much will it last that this thing will expire? The money I've paid will expire. Does it have expiring date? Because they have not come for inspection yet. They told me they will come for inspection. They have not come. They told me they will come for inspection, and after inspection, they will take my sample, and my sample will take some months. But my major problem now at the moment is the payment I have made. Is there any time frame for it to expire?
No, if we are the ones who have not come, then the payment cannot expire.
Okay, good. I'm happy. Then the issue of thank you, sir. Because of time, and I don't want to take too much this thing. The issue of registration now. A product is about 30-something thousand naira. Right? Yeah, I will please, I don't know how to put it, cry in that way, or let me say something. If the price would come down a little, because what I'm saying is I'm talking from the, I'm talking the minds of the masses, especially we in the north here. You see, every time you say Lagos, like here we don't even have, like in Adamawa State in particular that I'm called Adamawa Bauchi, we don't have a lab. It was in Maiduguri before now, but after this Boko Haram, there's no lab around here, right? If they say, well, maybe in the northeast, people will revive one lab, right? So that people can come and do their own testing before taking it to you.
Okay. Yes, our Maiduguri lab is very, very functional, I think, until recently.
But people are afraid of going to Maiduguri, anything Maiduguri, because of this. Up till now, people are still afraid.
Oh, yes, of course.
So,
but we have, what you can do, if you submit the samples in our Borno office, they will send it to the nearest lab, which I think is Kaduna now. Kaduna, we have a central lab also. So, yeah. But concerning the fees, I've told you we are going to do three major activities coming. That's documentation. We have officers that will review your documentation. We have officers who will come for inspection. At least 2 or 3 officers will come for inspection. Then from there, we also send your samples to the lab. So if you look at all these activities, I don't think 30,000 is too exorbitant for all that. It's a whole gamut of activity, one after the chain of activities. So I don't think that is. Especially with the present realities, I'm not sure that is.
I hear you, sir, but NAFDAC is not a. I don't think NAFDAC is a
money-making venture. Money-making venture. You are only there to help us.
I understand that to support NAFDAC, so they can operate,
like a running expense.
Exactly, running expense. But because of all of the things that are happening in the country, let's take power, for instance. All of us SMEs, MSMEs, and the likes, even the large exporters, are faced with the pressure of uncompetitive prices in the international market because of the cost of production in Nigeria. And now, of course, for what has happened in the country in recent times, the cost has also gone up again, almost 50%.
Oh, sure, with subsidy removal and all that.
We are praying that we will see the realization of the good part of the subsidy removal. However, for now, for what it is, all costs have gone up. if there is a way that the government can also help us to say, okay, because cost has gone up, let's give you this concession in this area, particularly for exports, sir. And we are strongly advocating, again, as women, permit us to use our soft side to advocate, you know, particularly for exports. We can do that, especially for the SMEs and the MSMEs. We can do that and say, let's give you a concession of, instead of 35,000, let's start paying 20,000. It will go a long way.
Sure.
It will, at least it will buy for one day.
Yeah,
Sure.
actually, that's different fora. We have actually, my Director General has actually given palliatives. We call it palliatives for SMEs. For example, if your product runs into late registration, you are given a waiver. We have created a lot of palliatives in the recent, because we're always reviewing all these complaints and trying to be empathetic with our young entrepreneurs and startups. So from time to time, we give palliatives just to ease the tension in the industry. But this, I think 30,000, well, we'll see. I'll mention it, but I think 30,000 is really, well, I don't know, because if you look at even other MDAs like Sun charges are far.
We are going to bring them too. We are going to bring them and we're going to ask them as well.
The multiples of what's NAFDAC charge. So
everybody to take the of happening in the country.
Yeah.
And we need to help ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Finally, Dr. Kachi, your hand is still up. Are you sure you still want to speak again?
No, thank you. I'm okay. Thank you. No, I'm okay.
Right.
Thank you.
So much.
Yeah,
is there a question? Let me look at the chat. I have one last question on the chat here. It says, is this a question? Yeah, it says, another issue is having to fortify products. Please, why should we add chemicals to oil for cooking? I don't understand.
No, for fortification is an international international requirement.
Oh.
It's an requirement. For example, for oils, you're supposed to fortify it with vitamin A, oil, butter, margarine, and all that with vitamin A, because we use them as food vehicles for all these vitamin supplements. They are food vehicles. For example, for sugar now for salt you must add iodine. For oil you must add vitamin A. For butter, margarine, and all that must add. So those are requirements that are international, and it's not just NAFDAC alone. So fortification is very, very key anywhere in the world.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. At this point, I think we can really, really wrap up. Thank you, sir. I must say, you have done so much. Some of the things I personally took out is that I hear about the different categorization of MSMEs and SMEs to ease the point of registration and what NAFDAC needs to do for us. I hear that the very, very basic cottage industry level is the one with 3 staff, and all NAFDAC officials come to do there is hygiene, practice to just ensure that the hygiene around the environment is clean and is acceptable, healthy enough to produce food, which is very acceptable. I hear we have the small scale, which has about 5 staff strength. I hear we have the medium. When you get to the medium, you start looking at some remanufacturing practices to ensure that what's coming out from that location is actually edible and up to standard that is acceptable. And we talked about prices. We talked about the extended sizes, the fact that people are experiencing double charges on various sizes of the same product. And Oga has agreed that he's going to help us look into that. We will follow up nicely with Oga, and we will ensure that we get results from that little advocacy that we are asking. And also we chip in quickly. I'm looking at the pricing for all of the good reasons of what's happening in the country right now. And I'd like to inform all of us that come the 29th of July, by 10 a.m. in the morning, we will all be at Sheraton Ikeja, Lagos, for the official unveiling of the WETI, the Women in Export Trade and Investment brand. And Ogatu will also be there with us. So in case you miss this morning, although that is going to be a program, so he's not going to be taking so many questions like today, but he will be there with us to facilitate with us and also other stakeholders in the export sector that will be there. Again, I'd like to say a big thank you, Dr. Sir. Thank you so much for the support you have given us so far. We believe that this is the beginning, and with your major support, with NAFDAC support, we are going to be one of those that will sing your praises and say, indeed, NAFDAC in Nigeria has changed and they are ready to ensure that businesses thrive. Thank you so much, sir. Can we all say thank you?
Well done.
Thank
Well,
you.
ladies,
Thank you.
So much, sir.
Thank you so much,
God
sir.
bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
proud of what you are doing.
Thank
Very,
you,
very proud of what you are doing.
Thank you, sir. God bless
For having
you.
me.
We
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
sir. Thank
We
you, sir.
appreciate you.
For having me.
Enjoy your
Thank
weekend. God
you so much.
bless you.
Bye-bye.